Hi everybody, it's Mr. Boll here, and this is our Year 4 geography topic, Our World. This one is Lesson 5. In Lesson 5, we're going to pull together everything that we've been doing in Lessons 2, 3 and 4. We're going to look at longitude and latitude, and this time we're going to put them together to create coordinates, and I'll tell you what that means in a minute. Then we're going to use the coordinates to show how different places in the world link in with time zones, which we did last week, and the climate, which we did the week before. So let's take a reminder. Here's a map of the world. This map is a nice one because the continents are color-coded. And one of the things I want you to remember is what the 7 continents are. And if necessary, you can sing yourself a little song to help you to remember them. But in previous weeks, you have proved that you do know them already. Here is a compass just to help us, to keep us in the right place. Never eat shredded wheat. That helps you get these in the right place. North, east, south, and west. Okay. So let's just make sure we remember where we are. Put your finger on where we are. Okay, well done. I'm sure you will have got that one. So we're right here in the United Kingdom. It's part of this continent, which is Europe. Okay, and we're in the northern hemisphere. So we are north of the equator. Here's the equator. If you kept going further north, you would get to the, call it out, well done, North Pole. And if you went right to the bottom of the world, you would be at the, excellent, the South Pole. Now, today we're going to take what we know about latitude and longitude, and we're going to look at the coordinates. Okay, we're going to come to that in a minute. Here's the equator, this line going right across the middle of the world. Okay, and these lines are going to be more important for today's lesson. Here's the Tropic of Capricorn, and this is this dotted line that goes right across the world here. And then there's the line, and here's the Tropic of Cancer. And in this area, as you know, it's very, very hot. Okay, some of these areas are hot and wet and have a climate of a rainforest, like here in Brazil, in the Amazon. Some of these areas are hot and dry and have a climate of a desert, like here in the Sahara. Okay, but all of these areas are very hot. They are nearer to the sun, and they are likely to be in sun for more of the year than we are. So they're the tropics, and they are important lines of latitude. Okay, and they are at 23.5 degrees north, this one, Tropic of Cancer, and the Tropic of Capricorn is at 23.5 degrees south because of the way the Earth tilts towards the sun, as we discussed in previous lessons. Now, next important line of latitude is the Arctic Circle, which is this dotted line up here. And there is an equivalent circle down here, which, call out the name. Okay, well done. That's the Antarctic Circle. Right. So then we have the lines of longitude, which, as you know, were invented in Greenwich in London. And the Greenwich Meridian is the line which everything else is either to the east or the west of Greenwich in London. If you're east, then your time is ahead. You're going to be ahead like we did last week. And if you're to the west, your time will be behind. If you're in a straight line, your time will be exactly the same. Okay, here's the line of 30 degrees east of Greenwich. Here's the line of 60 degrees east. And then you have the same lines west, 30 degrees and 60 degrees. Okay, now I want you to now put them all together. Here are the coordinates. Okay, so you start with how many degrees north or south you are. Okay, then you put a comma, and then you have how many degrees to the east or west you are. Now I've put this one in the middle of the ocean, and that's not where it is. So it's 0 degrees south, 60 degrees west, and I want you to spend just a few seconds seeing if you can work out where that is. I'll give you a clue. If it's 0 degrees south, then it must be on the equator. Okay, now let's see if you've had time to work it out. Ta-da! There it is. So 0 degrees south is going to be on the equator, 60 degrees west of Greenwich, puts you here, right in the Amazon rainforest. Okay. Now you can do this for anywhere in the world. So if you give the coordinates, first of all, the degrees north or south, and secondly, the degrees east or west. Okay, so latitude first, then longitude, then you will be giving coordinates that anybody else would be able to understand and work out where you mean. Let's do some examples. We're going to use Google Earth today, and this place that we're going to find first of all is, these are the coordinates. They are 51.16 north, okay, so it's north of the equator, and 0.86 west. So it's slightly west of the Greenwich Meridian, but only a little bit. In fact, it's less than 1 degree west of the Greenwich Meridian. So have a little guess and a think while I load up Google Earth. You're going to be doing this at home yourself later on. So here we go. Here's Google Earth. Now let's enter those coordinates in here and find out where we are. Now I searched for them recently, so I'm going to put them in again. Here they are. And let's see if this amazing piece of software will take us right there. Whoa, there we go. And I'm going to stop it there. And you've probably guessed where we're headed. You're right. It's where we live, in Borden. Okay, so if you click on this arrow, then that gives you the coordinates, as we discussed before, and that's where Borden is. You can go nearer. Click on here. You can use this aeroplane to get nearer. Okay, so you could come right in, really close if you want to. We'll stop it there, and it will gradually load, and then it would show us all the streets that we recognise, the landmarks that we know about. Okay, here it comes. There's one stop, for example, and the post office and the cafe and all those things. You can find anything like this on Google Earth. But then for this task I'm going to give you today, this view might be a little bit too close. So anytime you get too close, okay, so you get closer using this little paper aeroplane symbol, and you get further away by clicking on the globe. So let's do that. We'll click on the globe, and it will take us out again so we can see the big picture. And I'm going to stop it about here. Okay, so there we go. Now, for you to do the things I want you to do today, you're going to need to have longitude and latitude lines showing on your globe the same as I have. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. So here we go. We're looking at these controls here over on the side, and we're going to go into this one, which is called your map style. So you click on it, and we're going to choose customized. Here it is. And once you've chosen that, you need to just click this little arrow, okay, and make sure you've got borders and labels ticked, okay, and places, they need to be ticked. All right, and then finally we come down underneath. Now here, grid lines. So you'll see what happens if I click this. It's taken my longitude and latitude lines off. But for this lesson, you might want to do that one day and have a look at it without those lines. That's great. But for this lesson, you'll need them on. So you click them to be on. Okay. So you've got grid lines enabled on your view of Google Earth, and you've got places, this one, ticked. Okay. Right. And then you can get this to disappear again. And here's your globe. Right. Now we're going to enter a series of coordinates, and you're going to work out where they are. And the first one we're going to do is 90 degrees north, 0 degrees east. While I'm entering it on here, see if you can work out where it's going to be. Okay, so 90 degrees north and 0 degrees east. So 90, N, capital N, then use a comma, then put a space, and then 0. Remember to use 0 rather than the letter O, because otherwise you'll confuse the computer. 0 degrees east, 90 degrees north, 0 degrees east. Where's it going to be? So I'll press return, and we're going to fly off. Have you already guessed? I'm going to stop it there. I'm just clicked my mouse to stop it from zooming in even further, because sometimes when it zooms in really close, you actually can't tell what's going on. So, can you call out where you think this place is? Okay, well done. I expect you got it. It's the North Pole. So it's right there at the top of the world, 90 degrees north, 0 degrees east. And there's a series of other challenges that I'm going to give you. Right, back to the slides. So the first place we entered was here, which turned out to be Borden. Okay, and now we're going to look at a series of other places. So the first one, we've just done that one, 90 degrees north, 0 degrees east. So then you would fill in this table. This is your first task, task 1. You make a table like this, and you fill it in. The line of latitude is simple. It's the North Pole. It's actually not in a continent. All the other ones are, but this one's not because it's sea there at the North Pole. The reason why you could go there, and people do go there, is that it's constantly ice and snow there. There's not actually land. Okay, so it's not in a continent. And is it in the northern or the southern hemisphere? Well done. It's in the northern hemisphere. Right, so we've done that one together, but you're going to do the other ones. Okay, so you can see this one, the coordinates are 90 degrees south, 0 degrees east. I bet you can guess where that one is. And this one does have a continent, which I think you should know. And then you've got 0 degrees north, 30 degrees east. You work them out, the latitude, the continent, and the hemisphere. So you do a table like this and work all these out on Google Earth. Okay, so that is your first task, using longitude and latitude coordinates. And then we're going to take it to the next stage and pull in everything that we've been doing about time zones and about how your latitude affects your climate. Okay, and you're going to choose a place. Now, your place that you choose, it could be somewhere where one of your relatives lives. So say you've got some relatives in a foreign country, like there might be some relatives in Australia, you might have some relatives in the Philippines, or wherever you like, really. They could live anywhere in the world, in America, you name it. Or they could live in Europe, or you might choose somewhere that you've been and you liked it there, or you could just choose somewhere that you like the sound of, that you think is an interesting place. So I'm going to show you what the information needs to be in your paragraph, and here's my waggle. I've chosen Hiroshima because I used to live there. I lived there for 2 years, a long time ago, about 30 years ago. I lived there for 2 years, and I was teaching people, the Japanese people who lived there, teaching them English. Now, this is some of the things that have to be in your answer, okay? So you need you to explain why. So if it's because your relatives live there, put that in. If it's just because you think it's a really cool place and you'd like to go there one day, put that in your first paragraph. Then you're going to carry on. Now, this is mine. Hiroshima is in Japan, in the continent of Asia. It's in the northern hemisphere, like Britain, but it's further south, nearer the equator, so it's much hotter. The time in Hiroshima is 8 hours ahead of us because they are much further east. Okay, now you'll notice I've included the country, the continent, the hemisphere. I've also included information about the climate. So if it's somewhere that you've been, or somewhere where your relatives live, then you could, especially if your relatives live there, you could give them a ring and you could check things. Is it really wet? Is it really hot? Is it very dry? Find out a little bit about their climate. And then the next thing I've included is the time. Is it 8 hours? Is it 8 hours ahead, like Hiroshima, or is it behind, or is it the same? Okay, now last bit, you're going to find out the longitude and latitude coordinates by entering the name of your place into Google Earth. Okay, and so mine is 34 north, 132 degrees east. Okay, now you enter your name of your place into that search bar like you saw me doing just now. Okay, so that's your task 2. So let's just go through it again. Task 1 is to fill in this table using Google Earth, and task 2 is to write a paragraph about the place that you're choosing. Okay, like I have, making sure you mention everything that I've underlined in red is something that you have to mention. Okay, well done everybody, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.